I don't normally make videos like this, but I need to get on here and rant for a couple minutes. Because this topic has bothered me for years now, and once again it's becoming a big point of discussion. This time due to the casting in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. If you're tapped into the world of cinema, I'm sure you're familiar with this film. It's one of the most anticipated films of 2026. And of course it's based on Homer's Odyssey, which is an ancient Greek epic. Recently we got a new trailer for The Odyssey, and the reception has been pretty mixed. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of it either. I think it looks a bit muted, and I'm not the biggest fan of how the dialogue sounds. But I'm still very excited for the film. I'm a big fan of all the filmmakers involved. The point I'm getting at though, is that it's totally fine not to be excited for The Odyssey and to think it looks bad. But there are a lot of people out there who are hating on this film for the complete wrong reasons. People using fake outrage to mask their bigotry. Let me explain. So this has been happening for years, but in this video I want to talk about Lupita Nyong'o and Elliot Page, a black woman and a trans man who are a part of the ensemble of The Odyssey. And just to be clear, Homer's Odyssey is a work of mythology. It's fantasy basically. It's not some historically accurate story, no, it's overwhelmingly mythological. And according to rumors, Lupita Nyong'o plays Helen of Troy and Elliot Page plays Achilles. These haven't even been properly confirmed, but let's go with it. Just keep in mind that Lupita Nyong'o hasn't appeared in any promotional material yet, and as for Elliot Page, all we have is this 1-second clip. People are mad, cause supposedly this isn't how the characters are supposed to be portrayed. Which is absolutely stupid. Let's start by talking about Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy. First of all, as far as I know, the character was never implied to be white. There's simply no way of knowing what this mythological figure quote-unquote really looked like. There's no canonical biological reality here to violate. What we do know is that the myths emphasize Helen's beauty, not her color. So why people are mad that Lupita Nyong'o might potentially portray her is beyond me. Or is it? I actually have a pretty good clue. Racism. Look at the top 5 comments on this Instagram post. Hope this movie fails horribly, Helen of Detroit, woke cast. This is disgusting. Apparently Lupita as Helen of Troy is so ridiculous. Why though? Why would it matter if she's portrayed as black or white or Asian or Middle Eastern? It doesn't matter, she's not real. Yet these people are so adamantly against it under the false pretense of it being for historical accuracy when there's no history to violate. In fact, if we really wanted to portray Helen of Troy as what she most likely looked like, which is a ridiculous concept but let's run with it, she most likely would have had Eastern Mediterranean features, not Northern European ones. But of course, if you did cast a white actress to play Helen of Troy, nobody would have complained. This reminds me of the live-action Little Mermaid discourse. Who cares if she's portrayed by a black actress? She's a mermaid. Mermaids are a fictional creature. There's no culture to disrespect by casting a black actress to play one. I guess I can kind of understand why people were upset by the Snow White casting, because her paleness was a character trait, but when it comes to something like The Odyssey, there's no justifying the outrage. And after all, I think we're forgetting that the most important thing here is the quality of the performance itself, which is impossible to judge at the moment. We simply haven't seen nearly enough. The second controversy I want to talk about is Elliot Page being cast as Achilles. Again, I don't believe this has been confirmed, but let's go with it. Who cares? If you didn't know he was trans, you wouldn't be outraged. People are immediately comparing Elliot Page to Brad Pitt, who portrayed Achilles in Troy. Yet it seems like people are forgetting that Brad Pitt's portrayal of the character wasn't exactly in line with the source material either, yet now it's a much bigger issue. I came across this comment on TikTok saying, "The almighty Achilles at 5'1" tall, weighing 100 pounds, is the most feared fighter in the world." And my response to that is, it's fantasy, who cares? Look at the world of professional wrestling. Rey Mysterio beat Kurt Angle and Randy Orton in a triple threat to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, if they had a real fight, Rey Mysterio would have no chance of winning. But that's the beauty of storytelling and the suspension of disbelief. So why do you care so much that Elliot Page is only 5'1"? It's a fantasy movie. But something tells me you don't actually care about his height. You care about the fact that he's trans. And this is the perfect example of people faking outrage to hide their bigotry. Unsuccessfully, might I add. They claim to care about the source material when they actually don't know anything about the source material. How many people in this comment section have actually read the Odyssey? How about the tens of thousands of people who liked their comments? They're pretending to be angry about inaccurate casting to mask how bigoted they are. You don't know anything about Homer's Odyssey. You're using it as an excuse to spew hatred towards minorities, and that's the bottom line. It disappoints me that so many people like this still exist, but I'm not surprised. You don't have to like the casting. I've seen some people say they just don't like Elliot Page as an actor, which is totally fine, but let's face it, most people are angry for the wrong reasons. And hey, that's pretty much all I have to say for now. I don't usually make videos like this, but it felt pretty good to get that off my chest. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.